one to show and highlight something on the bikes is the suspension, the ride height adjustment. So it's all electronic on these bikes. You've got two types of suspension adjustment on the bike. One is damping, which is the actual action of the suspension that changes between modes. So whether it's pretty free and not too controlled, or if it basically feels very springy. So that's the damping, that's the action of the suspension. The other part of the suspension you can control is basically the ride height. So where the bike sits, depending on how much weight's been put on it. The more weight you put on a bike, the lower it sags the suspension down. So on these bikes now, they've got an auto ride height, which is the mode we run them in all the time. There's also minimum ride height and maximum ride height. So you can switch between those three settings. In auto ride height, basically as you ride off in the first 10 or 20 seconds, the bike will set its ride height based on how much weight's on the bike and try and get it within the window that BMW have designed these bikes to sit. Because if it's too low in the rear, the bike doesn't handle very well. Or if it's too high in the rear, it's the same. So there's a spot where the bike's meant to sit in the rear, and the bike will work that out for you. But what I'll do is go from minimum to maximum, because a lot of people think, oh, as if it changes much, there's not much in it. But hopefully you can see how much difference there is in the ride height when you switch between those modes. So I've actually got to turn the bike on for it to work. So at the moment the bike's in minimum, so it's in the lowest setting. I'll switch it to maximum and let it, you can hear the engine actually go under some load because it's working, and you can see the rear of the bike starting to lift up. So I literally have to readjust my feet because it lifts that much higher. I've basically gone to tippy toes now. Urquhart had needed a milk crate. Yeah, so that's the full ride height. And one thing to show, if I get off the bike now, and if you have a look, there's no static sag. The bike's not sagged down under its own weight at all. It's topped out. And if you look at the suspension, it's like a pogo stick. So a lot of riders think, oh, I'm off-road, go max ride height, it's more ground clearance, it's better for off-road. The bike handles horrendously. So you want to make sure auto is 9 times out of 10 the best option. Really the only time you'd use maximum is maybe if you had a pillion on and 3 panniers loaded up and there's heaps of weight. So even when it's in max, with all that weight on the bike, it would sit down in the stroke. Okay, but yeah, I think it's good to just see that.